My mother witnessed the intimate moment between my father and me, a genuine tale of betrayal. Gently, I spoke to my father, as my mother sensed the subtle tremor in my voice, reminiscent of the breeze sighing through a narrow opening in the door. Every word surfaced with great effort, as if I were holding back a looming explosion. My heart pounded fiercely, as if it might explode, while my hands tightened around the blanket in a reflexive grip. My breath turned erratic and fragmented. Each subtle noise in the quiet room sent my heart into a frantic rhythm, anxious that this hidden truth would be exposed. Salutations to everyone. Today, I embody Kopi. I shall share my story, a narrative I once thought I would hide away forever, never to be explored again. The sorrowful truth is that I bear the blame in this narrative. It is a tale that seems far-fetched, more fitting for the silver screen, yet it unfolded in the reality of my life. No matter how fervently I wish to erase those memories, they linger, permanently inscribed in my mind, haunting me each day. I dread that I may never amend my wrongs or achieve peace with the person I have deeply hurt. The wounds I caused were not merely of the heart. They also included the gradual disintegration of trust. In spite of my sincere attempts, I find myself unable to undo my deeds. I am a lovely young woman residing with my parents in the quaint town of Carmel by the Sea, California, a serene and lyrical locale. My father, Gage, owns a renowned seafood restaurant in the region. He consistently nurtures his physique and enjoys his time at the gym, so despite approaching 50, his body remains toned and robust, appearing far younger than his actual age. He possesses strength and decisiveness, yet he remains gentle with my mother. Yasa, a literature teacher at the nearby high school, embodies grace in her profession. She embodies a gentle spirit, exuding delicacy, and finds herself captivated by the timeless allure of classical literature each night. She frequently occupies the space by the window, immersed in the pages of her books, bathed in the gentle glow of warm light. Always ready with a piece of advice, my mother has been the guiding force, teaching me the essence of living sincerely and emotionally from my earliest days into adulthood. Throughout my life, I have been enveloped in the warmth of their unwavering love, as they dedicated themselves entirely to nurturing and safeguarding me during my childhood. With each return from work, I would dash toward my father, leaping into his embrace. Small arms encircled his neck, holding him tightly, for to me, my father embodied the very essence of safety and security. Within his embrace, everything would find its peace. I did not ponder deeply, I simply felt a sense of safety and warmth. I was a free-spirited girl who adored the new and the beautiful. I often chose the most exquisite and breathtaking dresses for myself. With each occasion, I would dash to my parents, spin around in joyful circles, and eagerly anticipate their praise. My parents, with their unwavering love, always wore smiles that reflected their pride, their eyes sparkling with warmth. The simple compliments enveloped me in a warmth that made me feel like the happiest girl in the world after every dinner, as the whole family gathered around the television screen, where I often found myself nestled on my father's lap. He frequently enveloped me in his embrace. Those hugs were tender and comforting. My upbringing was steeped in a nurturing embrace, a comfort that became a difficult habit to relinquish. Even as I matured, I found myself still seeking the solace of my father's lap, reminiscent of my childhood, where I felt like a little girl yearning for love and protection in his secure arms. This ritual was not merely a habit, it was a cherished connection, a fleeting joy that I was reluctant to abandon. Yet lately, whenever I found myself perched on my father's lap or dashed over to embrace him, the sensation had shifted. There was an oddity in his response that I couldn't overlook. He no longer embraced my hugs with the same ease as before. Now, there was a pause, and sometimes his arms tightened a bit more than usual. The way my father regarded me had shifted too, no longer solely infused with the gentleness and warmth characteristic of a loving parent. In certain moments, I could distinctly sense the confusion in his eyes, as if he were concealing something beyond my comprehension during these instances. My heart beats faster, as if my intuition tells me that something is wrong, but I don't want to believe it. Maybe I'm thinking too much, maybe it's just a passing feeling, but no matter what, this abnormality always sticks with me, making me feel that things are no longer as simple as before. As I said, my father likes to exercise, so even though he's old, he still maintains a strong and stylish body like when he was young. He's not only a father, but also a model of strength and charm that I've always admired. When I look at my father, I can't deny that he's still very handsome, with broad shoulders and a toned body. Every time he walks by, I still feel very fond of him, a strange feeling that I can't clearly define. Maybe it was the confidence he exuded or the strong appearance of my father that still reminded me of my childhood days when he was my whole world. But lately that feeling was a bit different. It wasn't just the admiration of a daughter for her father, but more like a vague, indescribable feeling. I found myself looking at my father longer than usual, and whenever I was near him, something inside me arose that I myself felt was unusual. Then one day, as usual, I came home from school and my father was already home. He always came home earlier than my mother and usually sat on the sofa watching TV, his eyes glued to the screen. As soon as I walked in the door, I still saw him seated there, tranquil and familiar, without any hesitation. Despite my maturation, I approached him, experiencing a sense of familiarity, and leaped onto his lap as I did in my childhood. Without hesitation, my father embraced me as he always had. However, this time, an altered dynamic rendered me less at ease. Despite the warmth of the hug, the ambience between us had shifted, prompting me to suppress my discomfort. Convincing myself it was merely a figment of my imagination, yet it was not a transient sensation. I became aware of a sensation contacting me while seated on my father's lap. Initially, I attempted to dismiss it, attributing it to my awkward posture or perhaps an object in his pocket. However, as time progressed, the sensation intensified, resembling an undeniable presence. My heart rate accelerated and the ambience shifted, becoming peculiar, oppressive and suffocating. Awkwardness ensued as I grappled with uncertainty. The intimacy that once provided solace now rendered me anxious and uncomfortable. I remained motionless, striving to maintain composure, as unaddressed questions surged within my heart. My father's eyes were timid and mute. Mirroring mine, we exchanged no words, merely occupying the oppressive atmosphere until my mother abruptly entered, shattering the tension. I felt an urge to rise, yet my legs seemed immobilized. My father remained silent, gazing at me, and in his eyes, I no longer discerned the familiar warmth of yesteryear. Suddenly, the sound of the door opening reverberated, and my mother entered, disrupting the stifling ambience. We both averted our gazes, and I hastily stood, striving to appear composed, yet an unsettling sensation lingered heavily in my heart, as if something irretrievable had been lost. Despite the outward normalcy of our surroundings, clearly felt the change. My dad seemed to start caring more about me. He often asked about me, paying attention to the little things in my life that he had never noticed before. He started buying me new clothes and things that I didn't ask for. Those gifts confused me at first, but gradually I realized that this care was not like fatherly love anymore. Every time it happened, I couldn't deny this strange feeling. It was like we were becoming a couple rather than father and son. The distance between me and my father was not just physical. His gaze became distant, and The moments of silence was longer than ever. I felt something changed in the atmosphere between us, but I didn't know how to face them. One day, the day when the boundary between me and my father was truly broken, it was a moment I will never forget. That day my mother had to go on a business trip due to the school's proposal, leaving only me and my father at home. I had just come home from school and entered the house. And before my eyes was a completely unexpected scene on the dining table. My father had prepared a sumptuous dinner. The atmosphere in the house suddenly became different, almost a bit romantic. The candlelight flickered, the food smelled delicious, and especially 2 bottles of red wine were already placed on the table. I couldn't hide my surprise. My eyes widened as I looked at my father and laughed. "Why are you so thoughtful?" Today I still thought it was just a coincidence. A happy surprise without the slightest suspicion of anything deeper. My father, with his usual smile, replied that he had something good to say at the restaurant, something successful that he wanted to celebrate. Was also happy and didn't ask any more questions. I just wanted to enjoy this dinner with my father. We sat at the table eating and drinking together. The wine flowed evenly in the glasses. The soft candlelight rendered the atmosphere warmer and more intimate than before. I perceived no wrongdoing at that moment. Everything appeared excessively normal and familiar. Yet this proximity gradually assumed a different significance. I experienced an indescribable feeling. We dined and shared confidences, reminiscing about my childhood when I was the little girl who always clung to my father. Sweet memories and light-hearted jokes made us both laugh, dissipating the previous tension. Laughter resonated in the warm room, and the atmosphere between us felt more intimate than ever. After consuming 2 bottles of wine, I began to feel inebriated. My thoughts became hazy and the alcohol seemed to obscure all reason. We sat closer together and I am uncertain whether it was the alcohol or something else, but suddenly a question emerged from my lips that I never anticipated asking. "Do you like me?" I inquired, my tone gentle yet devoid of childlike innocence, as the question bore a profound significance emanating from a perspective my sober mind would never permit me to articulate. My father paused momentarily before turning to me, his gaze penetrating and contemplative, as if he were probing the depths of my being. He responded with a single word, "Yes," delivered in a warm tone yet laden with unspoken implications. In that instant our mutual gaze suspended time, transforming our relationship from that of father and son to an extraordinary bond transcending all previously established boundaries. I remain uncertain of the impetus behind my inquiry. Perhaps it was the influence of alcohol or the culmination of long-suppressed emotions finally seeking expression. Gently reached out and hugged my father's neck. A strange feeling invaded my whole body, but I didn't stop and didn't think anymore. I only knew that at that moment I couldn't control myself. My father paused for a moment, but then he returned my hug, his arms wrapped around my waist, hugging me tighter. The distance between us was no longer there. We looked at each other, our eyes meeting for a long moment, as if no more words were needed. We both seemed to understand each other's hidden thoughts. Without words we kissed each other slowly and cautiously, at first as if we were rediscovering a familiar tenderness, but after a few seconds the hesitation disappeared, giving way to an intense, overwhelming feeling of our hugs becoming tighter and tighter. Not just to get closer, but as if we wanted to hold on to this moment forever. My heart was pounding in my chest and I felt the warmth of my father's body making everything around me disappear. My father began to gently touch my back. His hands seemed to explore every line, every breath. The initial tenderness gradually gave way to longing caresses, as if my father could not control the rising desire. His fingers slid over every part of my body, cautious yet greedy, as if he wanted to explore everything without missing anything. Every touch and every gesture made me shiver, as if my skin knew how to respond to his every movement. My father picked me up gently but firmly, his strong arms holding me tightly as if he didn't want to let go. I encircled his neck with my arms, sensing the urgency of our breaths as he proceeded unhesitatingly inside the dimly lit chamber illuminated solely by the faint light from outside. In that moment we were indifferent to everything else including time-space, but only each other. As if the world had stopped at this moment, all thoughts disappeared, leaving only a feeling of intense longing for a deep connection that could not be expressed in words. My father placed me on the bed and our lips found each other again, merging in sweet but passionate kisses. As if we could not be separated, I could feel his hot breath mixed with a rapid beat of my chest. His hands began to move deftly, slowly unbuttoning my shirt with each touch, each button undone. The feeling of being naked came not only from the clothes leaving my body but also from the vulnerability that we were both revealing. That feeling made my heart clench, but at the same time all the reservations gradually disappeared. That night we no longer held anything back. All barriers were broken, as if the world was left with only the two of us. Every gesture and every touch had a deeper meaning, wanting to engrave each other's image into our minds and bodies. We gave each other everything, not just physical intimacy but also the fusion of emotions, of secret desires that had been suppressed for so long. That night both of them entendieron que todas las fronteras habían sido erradicadas y no había nada sino la absoluta presencia de los otros. En ese momento, el próximo día, cuando mi madre regresó a casa, todo parecía haber vuelto a la normalidad. Mi padre y yo actuamos normalmente, ambos sonriendo y conversando como si nada extraño hubiera sucedido la noche antes de que mi madre no hubiera notado el cambio en la atmósfera. Todo sucedió como siempre. Tuvimos dice uno juntos, hablando de cosas cotidianas como una familia normal, pero dentro yo sabía que ambos sabían lo que sucedió, aunque mantuvimos nuestra apariencia natural profunda. Un silencio pasado cayó entre mi padre y yo. Cada mirada, cada gesto cargó un significado diferente, como si estuviéramos compartiendo un secreto que nadie más podía saber. Incluso si sabíamos que era malo, no deteníamos nuestras reuniones, si volvieron furtivas y apuradas, aumentando el conflicto entre sufrimiento y deseo. Sabíamos que era malo, pero ninguno de nosotros tenía ninguna intención de detener cada toque. Cada mirada implicaba que continuaríamos sin palabras, sin promesas. Que una noche, cuando mi madre estaba almorzando a dormir, mi padre en silencio se acercó a mi habitación sin mi escuchar y yo estaba todavía en un sueño profundo, completamente inconsciente de que mi padre había estado luchando junto a mí. Sus brazos alrededor de mí. Cuando me desperté, la extraña calma alrededor de mi cuerpo me asustó. Me giré mi cabeza un poco y realicé que su cara familiar estaba cerca. Un momento de sorpresa pasó, pero luego mis labios se abrieron con un sonriso lindo y me abracé lentamente a mi padre. En ese momento olvidé todo alrededor de mí, diciendo solo mi padre y yo lentamente: papá, tenga cuidado, mamá no escuchará. Mi voz sonriendo como el viento frío llenando la puerta. Cada palabra fue difícil de decir, como si estuviera tratando de agarrar algo profundo dentro de mí que estaba a punto de romper. Mi garganta era, pero mi corazón estaba golpeando fuertemente, irreversiblemente en mi pecho. Mis manos inconscientemente apretando el pañuelo, tratando de controlar el temblor que se expandió a lo largo de mi cuerpo. Mi respiración fue ahora rápida y rápida, como si cada palabra fuera difícil de decir, como si estuviera tratando de agarrar algo profundo dentro de mí que estaba a punto de romper. Mi garganta era tigre, pero mi corazón estaba golpeando fuertemente, irreversiblemente en mi pecho. Mis manos inconscientemente apretando el pañuelo, tratando de controlar el temblor que se expandió a lo largo de mi cuerpo. Mi respiración fue ahora rápida y rápida, como si cada respiro Fue detenido por una entidad invisible. La habitación fue extrañamente quieta. El sonido más suave del ruido hizo un grito haciendo que mi corazón se empuje con miedo de que este secreto nuestro amor aventurero se revelaría en otros, exponiendo todo lo que intentemos ocultar. La peli de ser descubierto gradualmente se convirtió en una obsesión, pero no podía dejar. No cada vez que Papa vino, reconozco que estaba encerrado en esta relación, incapaz de extirparme a pesar de mi conciencia de su inevitable muerte. Fue un día, el mismo en que había intentado huir, cuando finalmente mi madre me llamó para comunicar que una situación imprevista había surgido, impidiendo regresar a casa como se había previsto. Regresaría únicamente a la mañana siguiente. Un sentimiento de alivio flotante se apoderó de mi padre y de mí ante la perspectiva de un día ininterrumpido, sin preocupaciones, convencidos de que teníamos todo el tiempo del mundo hasta la mañana. Sin embargo, mi madre regresó inesperadamente antes de lo previsto. En nuestra falta de atención, no logramos percibir su llegada a la habitación, donde permanecía en silencio antes de que se desatara la escena. Comprendí que todo se había desmoronado. El mundo entero parecía desmoronarse ante su mirada, y en ese preciso instante, todo se sentía irremediablemente perdido. Me invadió una sensación de asfixia, como si las palabras se hubieran desvanecido en el aire. Y mi padre, igualmente, no lograba hallar una justificación. La atmósfera en la casa se impregnaba de pesadillas y tensión, despojando de espacio a la tolerancia o la simpatía tras el asombroso testimonio de mi madre. No pronunció una sola palabra y dejó que el silencio invadiera la casa. La atmósfera se tornó tensa, como si todo lo que había entre mi padre y yo se desvaneciera. También me sentí extraño, abrumado por una presión indescriptible que me llenaba por dentro. No teníamos palabras ni acciones que pudieran aliviar el peso del silencio que se cernía sobre nosotros tras la revelación de todos los secretos en los días que siguieron. Mi madre se fue y, al fin, firmó su divorcio. Mis padres optaron por concluir la casita que creía que era indestructible. La casa se encontraba desierta y helada, obligándome a confrontar las cenizas de lo que alguna vez fue una familia dichosa. Me encontraba sumido en un torbellino de confusión, sin saber hacia dónde dirigir mis pasos entre mi padre y mi madre. No sabía qué decidir respecto a mi padre, quien había sido mi pilar y ahora se ha transformado en la causa de mi desvío. Mi madre, así como yo y mi padre, provocando que perdiéramos el amor y la confianza en nosotros mismos. Finalmente, comprendí que todas las fronteras en las relaciones familiares deben ser respetadas una vez que se han quebrantado. No existe un camino de regreso. Amor, no importa cuán intenso si, no puede remediar errores tan graves ahora que me encuentro en una encrucijada en mi vida. Sin tener claro el rumbo que tomaré o quien tendrá el valor de regresar, me encuentro en la incertidumbre de si podré enfrentar a mi padre o a mi madre. No estoy seguro de si aún hay un espacio para mí en sus vidas. La familia que una vez poseía ahora se ha convertido en un eco doloroso, y mi sendero hacia el futuro permanece sumido en la más profunda incertidumbre. Solo sé que debo hallar la manera de enfrentar las repercusiones de mis acciones y aprender a convivir con este dolor eternamente. Soy consciente que tras relatar esta historia, habrá quienes me critiquen, afirmando que he llevado a cabo acciones memorables. Sin embargo, eso es aceptable. Comprendo que cada persona sostiene su propia perspectiva, y estoy preparado para aceptar todas las falacias del sistema judicial. Lo esencial ha sido que he aprendido a confrontar mi realidad y he abrazado lo fundamental, permanecer siempre vigilante y establecer límites en cada relación, sobre todo en el ámbito familiar. En ocasiones, el amor y la intimidad pueden encerrarnos, conduciéndonos a decisiones erróneas que jamás imaginamos tomar. Recuerda que cada acción conlleva sus propias consecuencias, y hay errores que no se pueden enmendar, dejando un dolor y un daño que perduran eternamente. No permitas que las emociones pasajeras encierren tu mente. No permitas que la debilidad te conduzca por senderos que lamentarás eternamente, manteniendo siempre el respeto por las fronteras y resguardando el amor y la confianza en el seno familiar, porque una vez que se quiebran, no hay forma de regresar. En ocasiones, solo así nos presenta una única oportunidad para rescatar aquello que realmente tiene valor. Y si lo perdemos, será el sufrimiento más profundo que tendrás que afrontar. Agradezco a cada uno de ustedes por tomarse el tiempo de escuchar mi relato. Si esta historia resuena contigo, te agradecería que me apoyaras con un me gusta y te suscribieras al canal para que no te pierdas las próximas narraciones. Gracias y hasta la próxima.